Pnawn da, a chroeso i ddinas Cardiff ac I ceremony radio Prifysgol Cardiff. Good afternoon and welcome to the City of Cardiff and to the graduation ceremony of Cardiff University. I'm Louise Casella and it's with great pleasure that as University Director I welcome you all to today's graduation ceremony. We're here to celebrate our students' achievements and I'm particularly pleased to welcome parents, family and friends to join us in this celebration. I'm joined here on the stage by the University President's representative, Mrs. Fiona Peel, the Vice-Chancellor, Dr. David Grant, and the Students' Union representative, Rowena Vassallo. Fiona Peel, representing the University's President, will formally open proceedings, and the Vice-Chancellor, Dr. David Grant, will receive students to their awards. To my left is Professor Paul Atkinson, the University's Orator, and later he will introduce our Honorary Fellow. Honorary Fellowships are awarded at graduation to those who have achieved an international distinction in their field. And today we are honoured to welcome Margaret McCarter Jervis, the People's Fellow. Students, today marks a marvellous milestone in your life, as it does in the lives of those who have supported you over the last few years. And it's good to see so many of them here today. I'm sure it will enhance your understanding and enjoyment of the day if we just spend a few moments going over the procedures for the ceremony. For those of you receiving an award today, perhaps you thought passing your exams was the biggest challenge in getting your degree. But an even bigger challenge faces you today. You've still got to cross the stage without tripping or falling over and shake hands with the correct person. So please try not to seek your award from anyone other than the Vice-Chancellor. The order of proceedings is included in the programme, along with the words used for the various stages of the ceremony. A presenter will read out the names of the students being received the same award. When each name is called, the student will ascend the stage, walk towards the Vice-Chancellor and shake his hand. Gently, please. Whilst past experience has shown this to be a little more challenging than it sounds, your approach to the stage and return to your seat will be carefully guided by our marshals, so do not worry. Once the ceremony is underway, it really is a case of follow the leader. When you leave the stage, you will stand with your group facing the stage and the Vice-Chancellor will formally receive you to your awards. You will doff in reply and then you'll be reseated by the marshals. When all awards have been received, students will be asked to stand to receive the university's greetings. Also, and importantly, can I invite you to clap only after the Vice-Chancellor admitted each group of graduates to their awards and not as each one crosses the stage. This will firstly ensure that your hands are still in reasonable working order by the end of the ceremony, and secondly ensure we all make it out of here in time for dinner. So please, can I invite you to clap only after the Vice-Chancellor has admitted each group of graduates. Finally, mobile phones. Have you got one? Can I ask you to check and ensure that your mobile phone is switched off? We will be providing some musical entertainment later in the ceremony, and I can assure you it will be better than anything your combined ringtones can produce. Finally, enjoy the ceremony. Thank you.
Prananda. Good afternoon. It's my great pleasure to welcome you to Cardiff and to this graduation ceremony in this very special year for Cardiff University. It is our 125th anniversary. May I also add my personal congratulations to all of you who are graduating. You have studied hard to earn your place at this ceremony and to have achieved a qualification from the university which has 125 years of service and achievement behind it and a bright future ahead of it. You can be confident that the qualification which you have earned from Cardiff University is held in high regard, not just in Britain, but globally. Indeed, Cardiff has been recognised as one of the top 100 universities in the world. Employers endorse the qualities and values that Cardiff promotes. The university continues to be targeted by major employers, and the employment levels of our graduates remains very strong. And I trust that has been the experience of those of you who are about to start your careers. But those of you continuing your studies will find that you have a solid foundation on which to build. You are graduating in a year of phenomenal success for Cardiff University. The award of the Nobel Prize for Medicine went to Professor Sir Martin Evans. We are deeply proud of him. Record-breaking levels of new research funding, awarding a totaling more than £110 million. Investment in teaching and research facilities, including the £21 million building for the School of Optometry and Vision Sciences, and almost 30 million of new biomedical imaging centres. We've launched one of the world's most powerful supercomputers, delivering the high-powered technology necessary to tackle today's big research questions. There's continued popularity as the UK's 8th most popular sought-after university, with some 37,000 applications for undergraduate places and an increasing number of applications from students worldwide. Continued innovation, including the unique Cardiff International Academy of Voice, providing individual training for our opera stars of the future, who you will see perform later in the ceremony. A range of activities on community and other external engagements, including some notable achievement by Cardiff students. And for those of you who have participated, we give you much thanks. There is much more that I could point to as evidence of our international reputation of this university, including the prizes, awards, and other distinctions earned by our academic staff, such as the award for Queen's Anniversary Prize to the Institute of Medical Genetics, which is part of the School of Medicine. There is no doubt that Cardiff has come a long way from its humble beginnings in 1883, when the principal John Viriamo-Jones led a university with just 13 members of staff and 151 students. On its journey over the last 125 years, Cardiff has evolved and grown into one of the world's leading institutions that we have before us today. I'm delighted that you have been part of that journey and that will, as alumni, continue to share in our success. Each of you can help contribute towards our success. As you go forth into the world of work, you may in time have the opportunity, and I sincerely hope the inclination, to support the students of the future through the Cardiff University Annual Fund. This year, you may like to think about supporting the 125 appeal, which aims to raise enough support for a further 125 further scholarships and bursaries at the university. With all of your help in the future, we could enable other students to experience a day like today. I hope you enjoy the ceremony. Thank you.
The formal proclamation of the congregation will be read first in Welsh, then in English. Nerth gwlad ei gwybodaeth. A nation's strength is in its learning. Boed hysbys i holl llewoddau'r brifysgol ac ar hyd a lled y byd, bod cynulliad o Brifysgol Caerdydd yn cael ei gynnal heddiw ym Mhrifddinas Cymru. O dan awdurdod siarter brenhinol o Brifysgol, mae'r cynulliad hwn yn cyfarfod i dderbyn ymfyrwyr sydd yn rhinwedd eu hastudiaethau a'i hysgolheictod wedi harholi'n briodol yn unol â statudau'r Brifysgol ac wedi cael yn deilwng o'r graddau. Wrth ddathlu llwyddiant y rhai sy'n graddio yn y cynulliad hwn, fe'i hatgoffwn eu cyfrifoldeb i gyfrannu o werthoedd y Brifysgol hon. Nod iddynt hwy yw ceisio drwy cyflawniadau, wasanaethu lles pawb, ymdrechu i sicrhau rhagoriaeth ym mhopeth ac yn boeni am ddyfodol ein byd. Gwrandewch yn awchus ar ddeillineb, gan ei fod yn cynnig gobaith a gwirionedd ym mhob cenhedlaeth. Let it be known to all members of the university and throughout the world that today in the capital city of Wales, the congregation of Cardiff University is taking place. Under the authority of the university's Royal Charter, this congregation meets to receive those students who, by virtue of their studies and scholarships, have been appropriately examined according to the statutes of the university and found worthy of their degrees. We celebrate the success of those who graduate in this congregation, and in doing so, remind them of their responsibility to share in the values of the university. It is for them to seek, through their achievements, to serve the common good, to strive for excellence on all things, and care for the future of our world. Be attentive to wisdom, for it offers hope and truth in every generation.
I, Professor Nick Fidian, introduce those who have received the degree of Bachelor of Science. Glenn Christopher Adicott. Gregory Barton. Martin James Bellamy. Harry Chan. Adam Race Chapman. Mark Hugh Cook. Andrew Graham Davis. Gareth Robert Dennis. Jeffrey Dodd. Jonathan Luke Harvey. James Charles Johns. Gareth Jones. Oliver Peter Jones. Jeremy Adrian Lai. Thomas David Morgan. Peter Nicholas Newman. Jonathan O'Shea. David Stephen Pavey. Pavel Pechko. Jennifer Christine Rathmell. Stuart William Redmore. David Rock. Edward William Salter. Hugh Derek Saunders. Jonathan Francis Sweeney. Matthew Sykes.
Good afternoon. At this point in the ceremony, and at other equivalent times, it is a tradition of the University for the Vice-Chancellor to speak in Welsh to receive each group of graduates to their awards. The Welsh phrase I will use, when translated, means, through the authority conferred upon me by the University, I receive you to the award or degree, which I will name, and to all the privileges of that degree. Trwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbynnu chwi I radd baglor mewn gwyddoniaeth ag I hoff fryniau'r radd hon. Congratulations.
Robert John Tinkler. Howell Watts. Joanne Whittick. Matthew James Williams. Nicholas Lloyd Williams. Christopher Wirt. Lawrence Woodman. Michael Anthony Ashford. Paul Llewellyn Cryer Whitehead. Andrew Michael Cuff. Delmy Oshan Haynes. Michael John Hocking. Antoine Paul Karuchki. Stephen Lawrence. Chris Pickford. James Richard Jones. Paul Andrew Springett. Luke Anthony Truskowski. Jonathan Richard Duncan Tyers. Rui Zhang. Walid Hassan Bati. Linda Lei Ling Chan. Adrian Alexander Patrick Clancy. Nonyelam Ndidiamaka Azenwa. Kyle Holder.
Prwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbynio chwi I radd baglor mewn gwyddoniau ac I holl frania rachon. Congratulations.
Matthew James Kitt. Lee James Watkins. Mark Andrew Etoch. Thomas Barry Griffiths. Kieran Gary Harwood. James Alexander. Syed Salman Azim. Ashgon Bagay. Chris Barlow. Stephen Clissold. Dean Raymond Cox. Craig Stewart Duncan. Daniel John Evans. Simon Robert Snowden Holmes. Oliver James Kemp. Jack Kingston Lee. Louise Victoria Lane. Nicholas Peter Laws. Matthew Ross Lee. Jennifer Jane Lyon. Katie Maslin. Toby Peter Matthews. Richard Whitten Moody. Michael Jonathan O'Kane. James Penn Halligan.
Prwy awdurdod a brifysgol am ddirhiedwyd I mi derbaniaf chwi I radd baglor mewn gwyddoniaeth ac I holl ffrengau radd hon. Congratulations.
Michael Gerald Roth. Amit Shah. Amrish Chandulal Shah. Katie Hazel Mary Simper. Michael Stallard. Oliver Stewart. Jonathan James Thomas, Mark Watson, Michael Wheeler, Matthew Wooler.
Prwy awdurdod a brifysgol am ddirhiedwyd I mi derbaniaf chwi I radd baglor mewn gwyddoniaeth ac I holl ffrengau radd hon. Congratulations.
I, Professor Hugh Bynum, introduce those who have received the degree of Bachelor of Arts. Samina Akhtar Ahmed. Rachel Barry. Fiona Chelsea Bennett. Charlotte Jane Boddy. Kimberly Helen Bruce, Holly Burleson, Bethan Cox, Bethan Louise Davis, Rebecca Louise Davis, Sionil Doiver Evans, Kerry Gibson, Laura Wright Gibson, Emma Green, Priti Hasiani, Victoria Judith Hine Hancock, Kaylee Lawrence, Sarah Lydiard, Clenos Ellery Lloyd, Leila Michelle Pinder, Sophie Priestnell, Leanne Robinson, Camila Sheridan, Sophie Elizabeth Silva, William Darren Soloway, Emily Spalding, Danielle Louise Taylor.
Prwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniaf chwi I radd baglor yn y celfyddydau ag ei holl ffreinio rathon. Congratulations.
Joanne Mary Watkins, Hannah Williams, Suzanne Victoria Williams, Amy Louise Winter, Nakita Jane Wright, Ellen Hav Wynne Jones, Edward Mark Dennis, Philip James Philip Hall, Leah Nadine Menzies, Jo Anna Christie Neville, Lydia Kim Tanner, Dorothy Nadine Chapman Borner, Holly Lauren Thomas, Nick Warriner, Alexandra Voyvodka Dunn, Suzanne Attaway, Nicola Katie Bull, Charlotte Kim Hewson, Asha Lakhani, Simone Karine Matthew, Robin Morrison, Teresa Sauter, Sophie Wakefield, and Kerry Gibson.
Prwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniaf chwi I radd baglor yn y celfyddydau ag ei holl ffreinio rathon. Congratulations.
I, Professor Hugh Bynan, introduce those who have received the degree of Bachelor of Education. Everton Anthony Barclay.
Prwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniaf chwi I radd baglor mewn addysg ag ei holl ffreinio rathon. Congratulations.
I, Professor Hugh Bynan, introduce those who have received the degree of Bachelor of Economic and Social Studies. Leah Naomi Andrew. Gavin Barrett. Nasima Begum. Emily Chalkley. Abigail Rosalie Chalice. Sarah Wan Si Chung. Amy DeFavery. Rachel Hampton. Leila Omar Hersi. Lorraine Mary Irvin. Claire Jeffrey. Burnham Kaur. Sophie Elizabeth Millard. Hannah Mia. Susanna Mrakskova. Scott Lloyd Thomas Piggott. Alex Reed. Hannah Rebecca Richards. Moira Claire Samways. Kirsty Jane Smith. Stevie Caitlin Williams. Hannah Claire Wisby. Alan Bateman. Leslie Ann Boozy. Frances Jane Brazil.
Trwy awdurdod y Brifysgol a ymddirchiedwyd I mi derbaniad chwi I radd baglor mewn astudiaethau economaidd a chymdeithasol ag I holl freiniau rathon. Congratulations.
Richard Brooks. Laura Brown. Nicholas Browning. Amy Laura Burgess. Lucy Jane Burrell. Sophie Victoria Cannon. William Chivers. Andrea Marie Collicott. Carly Jane Davis. Emma Louise Doyle. Carly Durbin. Megan Evans. Sean Evans. Hannah Garlick. James Goldfinch. Mary Jane Hamilton. David Harries. Thomas Harrison. Rhian Louise Haverkan. Megan Joanne Huff. Emily Isaacs. Catherine Jackson. Amber James. Sophie Leanne Jarrett. And David Jones.
Trwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbyniad chwi I radd baglor mewn astudiaethau, economaidd a chymdeithasol ac I holl freniau radd hon. Congratulations.
Danielle Kavanagh, Charlotte Kunjit Kara, Mark Colcula, Jennifer Amy Lockley, Hannah Mansell, Fiona McDowell, Natalie Morgan, Catherine Rebecca Nicholas Jones, Katie Louise Parrish, Sean Louise Parker, Lee Sharon Perry, Rebecca Prewer, Louisa Claire Price, Hina Rabadia, Sarah Ruth Richards, Stephanie Robinson, Bethany Kate Russell, Alexander Sava, Rebecca Lucy Scudding, Elliot Shaw, Fiona Taylor, Bethan Thomas, Joanna Trist, Mary Bethan Turner, Daniel Walker, Michelle Carolyn Webster,
Trwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbyniad I radd baglor mewn astudiaethau, economaidd a chymdeithasol ac I holl freniau radd hon. Congratulations.
Daniel Charles Withercombe, Natalie Sean Woodier, Jodie Woodman, Sophie Baines, Eleni Christie, Alexandra Lucy Davis, Robert Farrow, Richard David Jeffries, Sarah Catherine Jordan, Katie Louise Pritchard, Nicola Claire Richins, Anne-Marie Vickers, Nicholas Boyd, Martin Burrows, Jane Rosemary Harrison, Emily Jane Westlake, Chloe Kathleen Archer, Rowena Grace Berry, Gareth Binzel, Eleanor Kerin Bocker, Jessica Lucy Bowen, Jaroslav Dabek, Rosie Farrington, Helen Florek, Caroline Sean Griffiths.
Rwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiolchiadwyd I mi derbaniad chwi I radd baglor mewn astudiaethau, economaeth a chymdeithasol ag I holl freiniau rathon. Congratulations.
Rhoda Pamela Jane Hibbs, Elizabeth Hudson, Lydia Violet James, Amy Lee, Abu Bakr Madan Al-Shabazz, Stephanie Matthews, Natalie Jade Peters, Alice Kadina Philpott, Jennifer Price, Alexander Harry Quick, Claire Joanna Sadler, William Spolstra, Holly Elizabeth Squires, Cassie Stubbs, Sam Wilkinson, Joseph Bonney.
Rwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiolchiadwyd I mi derbaniad chwi I radd baglor mewn astudiaethau, economaeth a chymdeithasol ag I holl freiniau radd hon. Congratulations.
Poppy Imogen Hoole, Bethan Mary Kimber, Maya Lukova, Nikki Shaw, Joanne Blake, David Lee Cragen, Sarah Jane Miles, Rachel Shorto, Kaylee McFeeters, Elizabeth Sarah Stevenson, Jennifer Ann Venus, and Jennifer Hewlett.
Trwy awdurdod y brifysgol ymddiriedwyd I mi derbynio chwi I radd baglor mewn astudiaethau, economaidd a chymdeithasol ag I holl ffraniau'r radd hon. Congratulations.
I, Professor Hugh Bynan, introduce those who have received the degree of Bachelor of Science. Kaylee Darch, Emma Jane Evans, Catherine Eve Hanlon, Hannah John Evans, Megan Susan Townsend Lawrence, Emily Allen, Victoria Frances Bell, Nisha Rajendra Badveshwara, Mark McCullum Crawford, Sarah Kareen Hodgetts, Chloe-Anne Lapon, Benedict Lepine, Kate Liebscher, Laura Catherine Emma Lloyd, Annabelle Magali Tanner, Kerry Joanne Allen, Harriet Badman, Hannah Louise Clark, Stephanie Cruz, Catherine Evans, Timothy James Hewish, Sarah Ann Holland, Amy Rebecca Hutchinson, Nicola May, and Melanie Louise Morgan.
Trwy awdurdod y brifysgol ymddiriedwyd I mi derbynio chwi I radd baglor mewn gwyddoniaeth ag I holl ffraniau'r radd hon. Congratulations.
Stacey Elizabeth Morgan, Brianne Elizabeth Morgans, William Alexander Morrison, Chris Llewellyn Price, Natalie Pretty Perry, Henrietta Rose Saunders, Gemma Taggle Smith, Emily Swanell, Holly Fame, Eliza Jane Soden Turvey, Gavin Owen Volmer, Walid Hassan Bati.
Trwy awdurdod a brifysgol a amddiriedwyd I mi derbaniau chwi I ra baglor mewn gwyddoniaeth ag I holl ffraniau ra hon. Congratulations.
I, Professor Hugh Bynan, introduce those who have received the award of Certificate in Education. Nova Cozen Clark. Brian Edwards. Philip Hoffer. Robert Knight. Christopher Morris and Marcia Murphy.
Trwy awdurdod a brifysgol a amddiriedwyd I mi derbaniau chwi I dystysgrif mewn addysg. Congratulations.
I, Professor Therese Rees, introduce those who have received the award of Postgraduate Certificate in Education. Sasha Anna Paula Anteo. Kelly Ann Arthur. Lindsay Batsford. Victoria Ann Bowen. Claire Brooks. Gary Stephen Brown. Rebecca Bushell. Marion Cannon. Gina Carpenter. Lynette Ann Cavill. Sarah Faye Cook. Laura Jane Craven. Priyan Neris Davis. Rebecca Ann Denton. Martin Dix. Alexis Samantha Amy Evans. Claire Elizabeth Evans. Timothy Freeman. Katie Mary Godfrey. Mustafa Hassan. Gemma Hill. Catherine Hornblower. Elizabeth Helen Hughes. Laura Jeffries. And Alison Jennings.
Trwy awdurdod a brifysgol a amddiriedwyd I mi derbaniau chwi I dystysgrif olrhyddedig mewn addysg. Congratulations.
Catherine John. Carly Johnson. Catherine Jones. Lucy Jones. Sarah Knight. Charlene Lane. Sarah Leanne Lavender. Crystal Llewellyn. Rachel Malone. Shaza Abuzaid Manon. Katie Natasha Marks. Laura McDougall. Kirsty Joanne McQueen. Saraya Mubaraka Mughal. Samantha Oxley. Emily Victoria Parnell. Richard Payne. Richard Charles Pierce. Paul Perry. Gareth Picknell. Amy Louise Pryor. Naomi Richards. Daniel Roger. Joanna Sarah Ryder. Linda Ann Samuel. And William Scott Cree.
Trwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniad chwi I dystysgrif o ryddedig mewn addysg. Congratulations.
Amanda Sharp. Adrian Spence. Sarah Ann Tanner. Ryan Kevin Taylor. Abigail Tirado. Nina Susan Theodoulou. Katie Walker. Lucy White. Guy Williams. Jeremy Williams. Adam Winchester. Shirley Wong. Deborah Ann Davis. William Hugh Davis. Stuart Goddard. Leila Michelle Guran. Hannah Granger. David Quee. Amy Grace Lake. Christine McKnight. Emily Catherine Powell. Emma Rushworth, and Adrian Christopher Shaw.
Trwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniaf chwi I dystysgrif olryddedig mewn addysg. Congratulations.
I, Professor Teresa Rees, introduce those who have received the degree of Master of Arts. Neka Chizoba Akata. Emma Zavia Bebbington. Claire Louise Blackburn. Carla Jane Brett. Kirsty Alexandra Kaliva. Mary Ellen Davis. Anne-Marie Claire Evans. Nicola Evans. Tegwyn Evans. Lisa Eileen Gallagher. Laura Elizabeth Kelly. Catherine Ann Lewis. Fiona MacDonald. Lisa McKendrick. Amanda Alice Chantal Milbank. Rainier Effie Nikomanis. Sarah James Susan O'Neill. Gavin Harry Payne. John Nicholas Phillips. Martin Richard Plant. Lucille Hannah Roberts. Rhiannon Lee Waters. Lisa Watkins. Kelly Jane Wilkins. And Karina Wilkinson.
Trwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniaf chwi I radd athro yn y celfyddydau ac I holl ffrengau radd hon. Congratulations.
I, Professor Teresa Rees, introduce those who have received the degree of Master of Science. Melanie Catherine Mary Baker. Satya Schofield. Terry Kim Warilo. Dandian Hu. Jonathan Michael Rodney Hughes. Olivia Pu Yi Yip. Sin Yi Kip Kirkwood. Catherine Elizabeth Scourfield. Cameron Blake Sibbald. Elizabeth Ann Armity. Victoria June Baker. Hayley Carol Church. Rebecca Duggan. Sean Louise Hutchings. David Thomas Jones. Hannah Elizabeth Simons. Ike Chukwu Ika Chinyuriel. Su Ronghu. Alexandra Dorota Kazmarek. Yulin Lu. Helen Claire Jones. Jennifer Rose Shepherd. Jonathan Edward Blake. John Corliss. And Adaugo Amizi.
Trwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniau chwi I radd athro mewn gwyddoniaeth ag I holl ffraniau radd hon. Congratulations.
Jonathan Birch. Ye Hai An. Olusholo Moroniki Akeki. Okekuku Ezewana Akuhuaigugu. Mohammed Usman Farouk. Jakrapan Fongsai.
Trwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniau chwi I radd athro mewn gwyddoniaeth ag I holl ffraniau radd hon. Congratulations.
I, Professor Teresa Rees, introduce those who have received the degree of Master of Philosophy. Sally Fanyi Lau.
Trwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniau chwi I radd athro mewn athroniaeth ag I holl ffraniau radd hon. Congratulations.
Professor Teresa Rees, introduce those who have received the degree of Doctor of Education. Adrian Davis. Caroline Betty Ann Lohman Hancock.
Trwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbania chwi I radd doethyr mewn addyd ac I holl franiau rathon. Congratulations.
I, Professor Teresa Rees, introduce those who have received the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Andrew Bernard Harrison. Joseph Robert Rabiotti. Tahir Ibrahim Al-Kindi. Andrew Shearer Aitchison. Stephen James Burgess. Catherine Christine Butler. Mark Connolly. Francis Bartholomew Cowell. Nicola Joy Critchlow. Victor Oyaru Gikara. Alexandra Eleanor Hillman. Wen Chuan Lin. Alexander Richard Westall Miles. Pamela K. Robinson. Rodrigo Ribeira. Yujun Tang. And Charles Willey.
Trwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniaf chwi I radd doethyr mewn athroniau ac I holl franiau rathon. Congratulations.
Can I invite all of you who have received your awards this afternoon to stand so that you can receive the greetings of Fiona Peel, representing the University's President, and Rowena Vassallo, representing the President of the Students' Union.
May your care ever be for the success and good name of our university and our country.
Congratulations, you are now members of the distinguished alumni of this university. May your association with the university be cherished and be constant throughout your life. and may your care ever be for the fellowship of our university and the welfare of all people.
Before you sit down, I'm sure that all of you very proud graduates would like to join in a long-standing tradition at Cardiff University at these ceremonies. That is, to pay a special tribute to your families and friends who've supported you, no doubt, in so many ways over many years, not least financially, I'm sure. And indeed, to thank the academic staff who may have helped you reach this important point in your life today. Can I therefore invite you to turn around to greet your family and friends and say a special and public thank you to them all by giving them a wave, or if they're not here, perhaps into the camera for the webcast, and a great huge round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please be seated.
Vice-Chancellor, sir, it's my privilege to introduce Margaret MacArthur Jervis as People's Fellow of Cardiff University. As Cardiff University marks its 125th anniversary this year, we have found many ways to celebrate that important milestone. Among them was the decision to appoint a People's Fellow, open to public nomination from the many communities served by Cardiff University. Margaret is our People's Fellow, and there could be no more suitable recipient, for she has committed herself to a lifetime of work with children, young people and families in communities that face social and economic challenges. Margaret embarked on her life of community work in her own village in Scotland, where she headed a group that took over a disused infant school and turned it into the village's first youth centre. She then changed her life by going to what was then Murray House College in Edinburgh, where she qualified in youth and community work. She then worked in Aberdeenshire and in the East End of Aberdeen. In Aberdeen, she managed the St Catherine's Community Centre, which was in sad need of new direction and purpose. Under her guidance, new services were established for welfare benefits advice, daytime provision for the homeless, and the first play provision for children in high-rise flats. It was at that time that Margaret had the great good fortune and infinite good taste to meet and marry a Welshman, and the equally good fortune, therefore, to move to Wales. Together, they had the idea to develop a community centre that would be run by and for local people. From that germ of an idea developed Valley's Kids. Valley's Kids exist to help children and young people to grow and develop, enabling local people to develop their skills, helping people to achieve their potential. All of this is dependent on the active involvement of local people themselves in delivering services that answer the needs of their community. Since its establishment over 30 years ago, Valley's Kids has grown and flourished. From its origins in a coal cellar in 1977, the organisation now has numerous projects, including 4 community projects, a community bus, a community access to technology project, an arts project, a community outreach and family team, a community rugby project, and Valley's Kids now has over 50 staff and over 150 volunteers. Margaret is an inspirational leader who's demonstrated what can be achieved by leadership, hard work, and commitment. She is an inspiration to us all. She was awarded the MBE for her services to the Rhondda, and we are proud to add to her honours by making her Cardiff University's People's Fellow, in every sense, Vice-Chancellor, a popular choice. Anrhydeddus is gan herchlor, cyflwynaf I ti Margaret MacArthur Jervis, fel camrawd anrhyddedd Prifysgol Cardiff.
Clwyr awdurdod a roddwyd I mi gan y cyngor derbaniad di fel camrawd anrhyddedd Prifysgol Caerdydd.
Vice-Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I'm astonished to be standing here today. When I knew that Graham Benfield, the Chief Executive of the Wales Council for Voluntary Action, had nominated me for this fellowship, I felt extremely proud and humbled. As Chief Executive of the Wales Council, Graham knows or knows of most people working or volunteering in the sector, so his nomination was a very special honour for me. Then, for the panel of this great university to bestow on me this, their first People's Fellowship, I was in a state of shock. But it means a great deal to me because it is a recognition of the work of Valley's kids and all the people involved. I come from a generation where, as a daughter of an unemployed miner and a mother who worked as domestic help, there were never any expectations that my brothers or I would go on to higher education. In fact, it was seen as a great achievement when I left school at 15 and went to work in an office rather than in a factory. Once I knew that I was to receive this, the first People's Fellowship, in the 125th year of the university and the 30th year of Valley's Kids, I reflected on how on earth did I get here. I want to share some of those reflections with you today. I thought about the expectations that other people had had of me and how that had encouraged me to have high aspirations of what it might be possible to achieve. Too often, the young people who live in the communities where Valley's Kids operate, the young people are told to be realistic, which translates into people having very low expectations of them and them having even lower expectations of themselves. When my Welsh husband, co-founder and co-director of Valley's Kids, and I came back to Wales, we had an idea, we had a dream, and we had some high aspirations. We have spent 30 years developing what is now Valley's Kids, and during those 30 years, we have been encouraging the people we work with to have great expectations of themselves, and many have gone on to achieve far beyond their dreams. Some are even graduates of this university. So I would say to you today, as you begin your careers, have your dreams, have high expectations and aspirations, also thought about what is now called the work-life balance, as if your work was not part of your life. Your work is a very important part of your life, so I hope you choose wisely and have a passion in whatever career you follow, so that it is part of your life and not something that you do to live. Finally, I would say to you that for any organisation to be a success, everyone has to be important. It may appear that the Chief Executive is the important person, but if everyone in the team, be it the porter, the receptionist, the head of department, do not do a good job, then the organisation suffers. We must value everyone for the organisation to reach its full potential. I'm not a great rugby fan, but a few years ago I was invited to a Wales versus Scotland match. I went along with my Welsh friends, surrounded by red, with a huge tartan rosette. It came off in the first 5 minutes when I realised I wanted Wales to win. I will not forget my Scottish roots, but I believe I am now an adopted Welshwoman. So from this adopted Welshwoman, I wish you all every success. Have high aspirations, be passionate about what you do and enjoy your work, and respect everyone as your equal. My thanks to the University for bestowing this great honour on me today. Thank you.
Margaret, thank you for that, and I can honestly say that at the university we're delighted to adopt you as one of our fellows. It's now my great pleasure to introduce to you Carlos Osuna, who is from Mexico, and he's one of our students at the International Academy of the Voice. Will you please welcome Carlos? why we're so proud and happy to have the International Academy of Voice in Cardiff. The concerts do happen fairly regularly, so just look on the website and then you'll see Carlos, and I hope you'll follow his career. We're delighted. So as a member of the University's Council, it's now my duty to draw these proceedings to a close. This occasion is naturally one of the most pleasurable of the university calendar. It's actually a real joy to be on the platform and to see the pride and relief of the new graduates as they cross the stage. As you go as graduates into the world in the university's 125th anniversary year, I hope you will take with you happy memories of your time here, confidence that your studies have been a valuable contribution to your lives, and a determination to use your talents in the service of humanity. I wish you every success in the future. Good luck, and thank you.